Well, we know all about Toronto's taxi wars. Just over a year and a half ago, a protest shut this entire intersection down here at Bay and Queen. But a particular segment of Toronto taxi drivers are especially struggling, and in an unusual twist, it has nothing to do with Uber. I'm talking about the city's accessible cabs. It seems no one is taking them. There's one, and there's another. Accessible taxis. There are 687 in Toronto. The problem, drivers say, is they're usually empty.
The whole taxi industry is struggling, and we are at the bottom of the taxi industry. This started out as an experiment, and the experiment has failed miserably.
Murtaza Gower says people who actually require accessible taxis make up only about 1% or less of his business. He relies on customers who flag him down, but it seems no one wants to get in an accessible cab.
The club goers, the young generation, and a lot of people downtown, they skip us on taxi stands, at Island Airport, anywhere. They skip us because they want a regular car. They do not want to ride in these vehicles.
13% of Toronto's cabs are currently accessible, compared to 4.9% in Montreal.
You work so hard and you make less than minimum wage.
Gower bought his taxi license when the city had pledged to make all cabs accessible by 2024. That plan got scrapped, and the city is currently developing a new long-term accessibility strategy.
Thank you.
There is certainly a need for accessible taxis. According to a TTC staff report, demand for Wheel-Trans has increased at an unprecedented rate, up to 15% a year since 2014. They've been using accessible taxis to help fill the gap, and will be asking the TTC board this week to increase the accessible taxi budget by another $163 million to keep up with growth. It won't help Gower, though. The TTC only uses taxis that have side entrances for accessibility. His has a rear entrance for wheelchairs.
The city has to come up with a solution. This system has failed.
Toronto City Councillor Jim Karajanis agrees. Drivers need help.
What I would be advocating for is to have a surcharge on the fares, and this surcharge to go in a pot, and when a person has to replace his accessible vehicle in the future, that we help them.
Now, even cab drivers who are used by Wheel-Trans tell me that their accessible cabs aren't nearly busy enough. Now, Murtaza Gower was on a waiting list for a license for the city for more than 10 years. He tells me he was told he would be ahead of the competition.